Welcome to Marketing in Your Car, the podcast for funnel hackers everywhere. You are now part of a small group of underground entrepreneurs who are trying to change the world through the products and the services that we believe in. But because we don't rely on venture capitalists, we don't have financial safety nets. So we have to do things differently. We have to do things smarter. We do that through an art and a science that we call funnel hacking. Now, this podcast will give you a glimpse at the daily life of a funnel hacker. So let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing amazing today. I'm feeling a lot better. I gave you guys a podcast yesterday where I was a little bit stressing out. Today's a new day. It's beautiful outside. Halloween was amazing. I'm feeling good. So no one will stress about me. Pressure's gone and I'm back to 1,000,000%. So I'm really, really excited. I'm going to be heading out to go hang out with the Inner Circle members, and I can't wait. The next 4 days is going to be amazing. I pinch myself knowing that this is like my life. Like I get to wake up, go hang out with entrepreneurs from around the world who are changing the world in their own little way. And they paid me to be here, which is crazy. I would pay to be in this room, and I'm hanging out with these rock stars. So it's awesome, and I'm loving it. And driving in right now to go hang out with those guys. And it's interesting. So I got something to share with you guys. I hope that's all right. Hope you don't mind. So, I've never really done client work before until just recently on a couple of projects, mostly because I'm using my superpower ninja funnel building skills to win friends and influence people, right? I look at Tony Robbins. I built him a funnel. We built Dave Asprey a funnel. We built Neil Strauss a funnel. We built 5 of Marcus Lemonis' company's funnels. We built the Flex Watch funnel. With Funnel Hacker TV, we've been building funnels for people. Anyway, so it's my first time in my life I've done other people's stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not my most favorite thing on planet Earth. I would rather just do my own stuff all day long, but because of circumstances, that's been happening, and I've done a bunch, and it's interesting, very, very interesting. In fact, I think I mentioned I did a little rant last week, I think, a little bit about people that keep wanting me to do their funnels for them and stuff like that. And yesterday, one of my friends, they have a really successful e-commerce business, and they've got a blog and things like that. And someone on the team is trying to figure out ClickFunnels, and the person's frustrated. It's funny, the email, the subject line said ClickFunnels limitations, and I thought it was so funny. The limitations in ClickFunnels is we can't upsell people into our Shopify store. Anyway, I can't even. It just made me laugh because we built ClickFunnels because of the limitations of a traditional shopping cart, right? You can't do everything important. All you can do is have a random store with a bunch of crap in it. And this girl is complaining to them, and then she got back to me. It's just ClickFunnels is too limited. I'm like, are you kidding me? The only thing that's limited is I told him, I say this girl she sounds awesome, but she's all concerned about a couple pennies over here, where if she would just turn her head, there's tens of thousands of dollars right over there. And she's tripping over these little pennies because she's getting all caught up on that, where it's just if you look at it from a different perspective and you turn your head a little bit, you're like, holy crap, wait, screw those little pennies. There's a crap ton of money right there. Let's run that direction instead. And so I was trying to explain that to him. And then one thing that, as I was talking to him, and I was I sent him an email, and then I recorded an audio, just kind of explained to him a little more. I said something to him just at the top of my head that all of a sudden was this big aha moment for me. And so what I told him, I said, I said, you guys have this company, it's doing well, and you want to grow it, but I'm the problem is you're outsourcing the marketing. I was and I understand outsourcing the fulfillment of the marketing, but outsourcing the strategy of the marketing to somebody who doesn't understand it. And I said if you look at the marketing and the sales, that piece of it, that is the sex of business, right? It is the most pleasurable, most fun, the best thing in the world, and that's how you get customers. That's the best part. And then afterwards, then you've got customers, now you're going to soccer games and you're doing homework and all the other stuff, and if your kids are awesome like mine, then it's amazing. But the reality is the best part of business is not the fulfillment of the products. It's not anything else. It's the selling. That's the best part, right? And I was you literally right now, you are outsourcing your lovemaking. Why on earth would you ever do that? That's the best, most important part of the entire business. Everything else is just the stuff you have to do so you can go and and have sex again, right? Like, I apologize for those who are listening. You're like, Russell, you're my nice Mormon friend. Why are you saying these things? But it's true. Like, think about this, you guys. Like, that's what that is. And if you are outsourcing the strategy of your marketing, you are literally outsourcing your love life. How well do you think your marriage is going to be if you're outsourcing that piece? Like, it can't be good. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it cannot be good. And what I found with all these people I built funnels for, not all, but for the most part, the one commonality is like the entrepreneur is the artist who's like good at doing the thing. And so they're trying to outsource their lovemaking and they want their company to grow. I'm like, you cannot do that. Like, you can't. If you outsource that in your marriage, it would not grow. And it's the exact same thing in business. And again, you can hire people to do the actual fulfillment, but you, as the entrepreneur, has to be able to think through the strategy, because that's the key. That's the most important part of this entire business. Like, that's why people always laugh, like, oh, Russell, like, I've got this kind of business. I don't know if what you do would really work for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what I do works for every business. It's the strategy behind it. Like, you can give me any product off the street and I can plug it into one of our strategies and it would work. Like, I'm driving down the street now. I can see there's a payday loan place. There's a cigars walk-in place. There's a cabinetry place. There's ink place. There's what else we got? The home furniture, the DMV. For every business there, I just drove past, except for the DMV. Like, they're screwed because they're run by the government, which is a whole other story for a whole other day. Every one of the businesses, I don't care which one it is, you can hand it to me, I can plug it into one of our strategies and it would work. Like, because I understand that piece of it, and it's the most important part. And so I told my friend, I said, look, the people that I like working with are companies that the entrepreneur still runs the business and the entrepreneur is obsessed with the marketing of the business. And I started thinking about that. I started thinking about, like, hey, tomorrow I get to go see the Inner Circle members, and guess what? They are all, the one commonality among every single person on Inner Circle is that the entrepreneur still runs the company and the entrepreneur is obsessed with the marketing of the business. And guess what the commonality between all those companies are? Holy crap, they're successful. Like, I don't care what it is you do right now. Okay, you could be selling fish, you could sell McDonald's, you could be like whatever it is, it does not matter. Until you become obsessed with the marketing of that thing, you're gonna struggle. You will hit plateaus, you will not be able to grow because you're outsourcing your lovemaking. And until you take that back in and take the responsibility and the onus put upon your own shoulders, you are gonna struggle consistently until you do that. And so that's my message for you guys today. If you are an entrepreneur listening to this and you run your company and you're obsessed with the marketing, which I'm guessing if you're hanging out listening to me, you probably are a little bit into that. And if not, you're going to get more and more into it. But I would say become obsessed with it. That is the only thing that actually matters in a business. It's so crazy. This is back in like 2008 when like the economy's crashing and everything, and my friend worked for the marketing department of some company and like the economy started collapsing. So what did these morons do? They went and they fired the marketing department because it was too expensive. Okay, do you guys see any problems with that? Like, that's like driving a car and it's about to run out of gas and you're like, crap, I can't afford gas. So you stop putting gas in. And what happens? The car stops running. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, it's insane. And so they fired the marketing team because they were tight on money, and the whole company bankrupt, right? Like, how do you not see that one coming? Right? Like I remember there was a Dennis O'Leary stand-up comedy thing one time, and he was like he was talking about different deaths, and he's like, you ever hear about Lou Gehrig? Died of Lou Gehrig's disease. How do you not see that one coming? Like, that's how I feel. Like, oh crap, our company's struggling. Let's fire marketing sales. They cost the most. Like, they're the only ones that actually matter. Like, that's what gets customers to give you money, which makes everything else work. Everything else is fulfillment. And obviously your fulfillment's got to be good, or else customers will not come back to you. You can sell something amazing once, but if the support and the fulfillment's not awesome, then that's the other side. So there is value in that. It's just like after you in your marriage, like then you have kids, and your kids are amazing. There's so much value and blessings to come from that. But if it wasn't for that act, like, you cannot have a family unless you have sex. It's impossible. Like, look around. There's a whole bunch of people around. They all got here the exact same process. Like, okay, without any exception. There's only one way that comes in. And same thing, the only way that cash comes into a business is through this one thing. And if you were outsourcing that piece to somebody else, then your marriage, your business is in trouble. So now it is time, you guys, to take it back upon yourself and say, look, I've been trying to outsource this, but I care enough about my business and about my customers and about the fact that I hopefully want future customers someday that I'm going to make this my priority. And so the next question is like, well, how do I do that? How do I geek out on this? Well, first off, hopefully keep doing what you're doing. Like listen to my podcast, reading my book. And there's other great marketers out there as well that you can geek out on. And I'm not just saying that I'm the only one, because I'm definitely not. There are people way cooler than me. But plug in somewhere and study and learn and become obsessed and think about it. Like if you sit down and just think for a while, like it'll be amazing all the ideas that kind of pop into your head. And that's the core piece, you guys. Nothing else really matters. So whatever business you are in, realize that the only business you're really in is the marketing of that thing. It's the only business that actually matters, because the other business of the thing that you actually do will not survive long, will not get into the hands of people, will not change the people's lives or the world unless you become obsessed with the marketing of that thing. That is the commonality among everyone successful that I work with. It's funny, I was talking to one of my buddies, BJ Wright, and he was talking about how in businesses there's like this initial liftoff time, right? Where it takes an entrepreneur with pig-headed discipline who doesn't have any logic or reasoning to go and to push this thing into orbit. And it's hard. For those of you guys who have done it or are doing it right now, you know it is not easy to lift one of these puppies off the ground, right? And so it's just like a rocket. Like when a rocket goes off, like you look at like the space shuttles, right? There's this little spaceship and there's all these huge rockets. There's so much force and momentum and inertia that has to get it out of the atmosphere. And then eventually you get it out into like where it's in orbit, right? Where it's like not being sucked back down by the gravity of it all. And it's in orbit and it's hanging out, floating around the world. And at that point you can go plug in, all the Harvard MBAs and all the professional people and that kind of stuff. And what's funny is like at that point, like unless like they totally screw it up, like you've got enough momentum, you've got enough critical mass that it's going to survive, right? Like I've got, I'm going to pick on some companies, but like one really good example, the company here in Boise that I have so much respect for the people who began it, some of the people that run it and stuff, but they're kind of in this boat, and it's ClickBank. Like ClickBank, there was a time it took a lot of initial inertia to get it off the ground and get it into orbit, and now it's up there and it's floating around the world like the moon or like a satellite, right? And it's out there, and like it is amazing how many things that these Harvard MBAs that they bring in to run it, like how many things they have done to try to destroy this thing. Like for those who have used ClickBank over the last 5 or 6 years, you've seen it. Like they've done so many things. It's almost like when Trump gets up and he starts talking, he says something, and you're just like shaking your head like, are you serious? Like you said that? Like why don't you think for 5 seconds before you start talking? Like it would save everybody a whole bunch of headaches, right? And it's kind of the same thing. ClickBank does thing after thing after thing. And it's just like, wow. Like if it wasn't the fact they were already in orbit, they would be crashing into the earth and this whole thing would be dead. But they have so much critical mass. Some entrepreneurs work their butts off to get it into orbit. Like no matter what these people do, it's really hard to break a business. And that's when you plug in that's when you outsource your lovemaking, right? When it's in that spot and it's gonna be all right. But everything prior to that, like it's gotta be you. You are the only one who cares enough to be like the 3 huge rocket things that with the jet that push it into orbit. Like that's the hardest part, okay? And you can't pay somebody to do that because they don't care enough. It's not just something like, and I think that's why, how anti-VC money I am, but like that's what screws up most businesses is you get this person with an idea. They then get someone to come in and give them like, here's $5 million. They strap on these rocket engines, shoots it into orbit, and then now plug in all the MBAs, and the MBA's freaking screwed up, and it's not really in orbit because like there was no foundation built by an entrepreneur to shove that thing up into the stratosphere, and so these companies collapse. That's the dot-com secrets bubble over and over and over again. Is that nobody freaking pushed that thing into the atmosphere. Someone just cheated and bought their way in, and because of that, these companies collapse. Like it's rare that you get companies that survive that, right? And so, anyway, I got a long ride this morning, you guys, and you have to bear with me. We're at 14 minutes. This is like twice the length of a normal podcast. But anyway, I hope that makes sense, you guys, and I hope that it inspires you as the entrepreneur to get your mind back into the marketing of your thing, because you are the fuel that'll get into orbit. And someday it'll be up there, and then you can plug in some MBAs and they'll screw it up for you, but it won't matter because you've done such a good job getting it off the ground that at that point it doesn't matter. But today's the time for you to become obsessed with the marketing of that thing that you do, and that's the most important thing you can do. So there you go, guys. I hope that helps. I got 11 minutes till Inner Circle starts. I'm stuck in freeway traffic, not moving. So my friends in the Inner Circle, if you hear this and I'm not there yet, I apologize, but I'm hustling and I will be there soon. So that said, you guys, I appreciate you all. Thank you for being an entrepreneur. Thank you for focusing on your marketing. Thank you for caring about your customers, because if it wasn't for people like you, the world would not keep spinning. It would keep spinning literally, but yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying. It would be in trouble. Yeah, I'm looking as we've got this whole election thing happening in the next week or so, like how messed up we really are. Like there's no hope no matter what happens. Like, yeah, so it's bad news blues. Either way, the only thing we can control is what we do and how we market our business and how we change people's lives. So quit focusing about the elections. It does not matter. Your vote doesn't count. I'm just kidding. It kind of does. And I'm going to vote. Don't worry. Yeah, don't stress about that because it's so far outside of our control. Focus on what is in your control. The government's going to jack it up. They're going to give us new rules, a new set of playing. It's like when you're a kid and you're playing like a game with your sister and you're thrashing her, and then she's like, oh wait, the rules just changed. And then she changes them. You're like, duh. And then for a little while she starts thrashing you. Then you figure out the rules again, and then you win, right? Wrestling was the same way. When I was in high school, we used to cut a lot of weight. Like I was cutting about 30 pounds a week. I would weigh in on Monday at 160, and I'd wrestle on Friday at 130. So I was cutting tons of weight. And my senior year, 2 kids actually died, 2 or 3 kids within like a month period of time at the college level died from cutting weight. And so they changed all the rules, which they should. It was great, and it's been a thing that's been good for wrestling. But they had these new set of rules of how to make weight, and they were ridiculous at first. And so like I would have had to wrestle heavyweight basically based on their rules. I'm like, no, I got to be a 165 pounder. So I'm in college, and the first year like everyone's freaking out because nobody can make weight and it's all jacked up. But then within a couple months, we figured out the system and how to beat it, and even with us beating the system, it was still better for wrestling. So first off, don't say that. Yeah, it's awesome, but we figured out how to bend the rules, right? Like what we found out. So the way that sorry, with the long commute, you guys get all the stories in full detail. So the way that the new rules would work is that basically you come at the beginning of the season and they test your body fat percentage, and then they test your body fat percentage, you had to weigh, and then you had to like do a hydration test all at the same time. And then based on that, they give you a calculation of what you're able to cut your weight down to, right? So the problem was you come in and they check your body fat percentage, right? And that was the first thing. So like the wrestlers were skinny, like I was like 7% body fat back then. So the more your body fat percentage was, the more the more weight you were able to cut. Because they figured like if you were at 5% body fat, what would you be at? And that was like how they figured out the ratio. So what we learned is like sometimes a pinch test you, after they pinch you, then you flex your muscles and it pops you up about 3 or 4% body fat. So boom, we figure out one way to kind of tweak the system, right? Number 2 is if any of you right now were to go take a hydration test, like we had to take, you would fail it. Like it's literally impossible to pass a hydration test unless you sit there and you drink like 4 or 5 gallons of water right before it, right? So what's the problem? A gallon of water is 8 pounds. So like just to pass hydration test, you basically have to gain 8 pounds, which is all sorts of messed up, right? And so we kept either we'd fail our hydration test or we'd have so much weight we couldn't hit the metrics. And so finally one day, I don't know who the genius was that figured it out, but somebody figured out like, hey, what if we get super, super hydrated, drink a whole bunch of stuff the night before, come in the next morning, don't pee, and hold all that hydrated pee inside your bladder, and then go put on your plastics and cut weight for 12 hours, lose 15, 20 pounds. Then when you go to do your hydration test, because you have to do all 3 of these things at the same time, body fat, hydration, and the pinch test, right? So then you got this hydrated pee in your body, even though your body's completely dehydrated, but your bladder's full. So basically, for like 12 hours, you'd have to pee so bad you were going to die because you just drank a gallon of water the night before, right? So you're like, I'm going to die, literally. But you have plastics on and weight cuttings for 12 hours, you're cutting weight, and you're trying to hold this pee in. And then you get on this, then you go and you do your hydration test versus you pee, and all this, the pee in your bladder is completely hydrated, because it's from the night before, and then you pee out like 8 gallons, so you lose 8 more pounds, and then and then you lost the other 15 pounds through cutting weight for that day, and then you flex on the pinch test, and boom, between those 3 metrics, now you're able to hit the weight you need to hit, right? So it's like the rules are going to come out and they're going to suck, but as soon as we think through them, we'll figure out a way. I mean, we're entrepreneurs, that's what we do, right? I mean, the wrestlers figured it out, and I love my fellow wrestlers, but we're not the sharpest group of nails in the bucket, you know what I mean? Like, and so we figured that out. Like, I just know as entrepreneurs, like, the government's going to jack things up again. They're going to raise taxes or change things or do stupid things that only make sense to people that aren't us, and it's going to suck for 5 minutes. We'll figure out a workaround, and we'll be back to normal. So don't stress about it. Just stress about learning how to market your thing better, because that's what's the only thing that's really going to matter. So there you go, guys. We are 20 minutes in, and I'm right close to the hotel. So I'm gonna leave for today. Hope you got your money's worth and a whole lot more. Now, if you guys ever need to cut weight, you know the secret, which is pretty awesome. And I hope that helps. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon, and see you guys later. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the behind-the-scenes look at our funnel hacking projects. You can also watch the Funnel Hacker online reality show and watch us build and launch funnels live at www.funnelhacker.tv. If you'd like to come hang out with your fellow funnel hackers, come join our Facebook group at www.projectclickfunnels.com. Oh yeah, and don't forget, you can get a free MP3 player with the first 257 episodes preloaded at marketinginyourcar.com. Join us next time, and remember, you're just one funnel away from your dreams.